This is the story of Zaid, a poor boy who is mistreated by his own brothers and thrown out of his home on false accusations of theft. He leaves his village and goes to another city to earn some money and respect there, but the princess of that city, Amina, mistreats him. While Zaid was selling his clay pots at the market fair, Amina belittled him in front of everyone, but Zaid's heart was full of patience and faith. Will Zaid succeed in this city, or will he be lost in the shadow of oppression? Watch the whole story to find out. There was a small village where the land was covered in a blanket of greenery and the air was filled with fragrance. Mud houses with wooden amulets hanging on their doors stood close to each other. In the courtyard of each house, women were spinning a spinning wheel, making clay pots or spinning cloth. In the middle of Gam, there was an old mountain whose water was the livelihood of the people of Gam and the peace of mind. Every morning, the sound of the adhan would rise from the mosque and people would gather for prayers after leaving their work. The market of Gam was small, where people were selling vegetable bags, clay pots, and handmade clothes. Zaid was a young boy whose heart was a river of faith and good intentions. Zaid's father, Haji Ismail, was a farmer who worked day and night in his fields. When Zaid was young, he used to work with He would go to the fields with his father, sow seeds and water the crops. Haji Ismail would tell him, "Son, keep your heart pure with the earth. Allah never forsakes hard work and faith." Zaid's mother, Bibi Khadija, was a pious woman who used to spin a spinning wheel and recite the Quran at night. She would teach Zaid to be patient when the world is hard on you. The Quran says, "Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient." When Zaid was 7 years old, Haji Ismail passed away. 2 years later, Bibi Khadija also passed away due to illness. Zaid's 3 elder brothers, Yusuf, Harun, and Alias, were married and ran a shoe shop in the village market. Their shop was famous because their shoes were strong and beautiful. Yusuf, the eldest brother, handled the accounts. Harun designed the shoes, and Alias would go to distant villages to sell shoes. Zaid, the youngest, worked in the shop, cut leather, sewed shoes, and sometimes sold them in the market. But his heart was in the fields, where he would make shoes in memory of his father. He was protecting the crops. The villagers praised his hard work and said, "Zaid has magic in his hands. This boy will do great things one day." But his brothers were jealous of him. Yusuf said, "Zaid is showing us a thief. What is he doing in the shop?" Harun and Alias also disagreed with his words. His wives, Fatima Yusuf's wife, Zainab Harun's wife, and Maryam Alias's wife, were also not happy with Zaid. Fatima said, "This boy is a burden in the house." Zainab said, "He wastes time in the fields. Why doesn't he work in the shop?" Maryam said, "Get him out of the house, otherwise he will bring us into disrepute." Zaid would hide because his mother had taught him that quarrels make hearts smaller and patience makes the soul bigger. He would go to the mosque where Maulvi Abdullah said, "The fruit of patience is sweet." The Quran says, "And we will surely test you with some fear and hunger. Whoever is patient, Allah will forgive him." Zaid listened to his words with all his heart and accepted his prayers. "O Allah, grant me patience in my heart and let me go on my way." One day he went to the village market. A big fair was held. People came from faraway villages to buy and sell their goods. Zaid's brothers decorated the shop with new slippers that Harun had designed with his own hands. They ordered Zaid to go and sell slippers in the market and earn as much money as possible. There should be no mistakes. Zaid worked hard. He went to every shopkeeper and traveler, praised the slippers, and sold them. That day, the shop's record was broken. He sold so many slippers that even Yusuf was surprised. But when Zaid brought the money home in the evening, Yusuf accused him of hiding some of the money. After selling so many slippers, he made the same amount of money. Zaid said politely, "Brother, I did not hide a single penny. I fear Allah. You see the account yourself." But Yusuf was angry. He slapped Zaid and said, "A liar like you will not stay here." Harun said, "He always embarrasses us." Elias also supported him. "Throw him out, otherwise he will ruin the shop's name." Their wives also raised their voices. "This boy is a burden in the house. Let him go." Zaid's heart was broken. He packed his small bag containing 2 of his clothes and a prayer beads given by his father. He told his brothers that he was going, but remember that Allah sees everything. He walked all night, praying for his mother in his heart. At dawn, he reached the gate of a big city, the city where Princess Amina lived with her father, King Solomon, and mother, Begum Zainab. This city was completely different from Zaid's villages. The streets were paved with stones, where street vendors sold oil lamps and earthenware pots. The market was bustling with people. Some worked in iron, some dyed cloth, some sold jewelry made by their own hands. In the middle of the city was a royal fort, the dome of which shone in the sunlight. Next to it was an old mosque, the courtyard of which was filled with people every evening. Zaid thought, "Here I will start my new life. Oh Allah, help me." Zaid had neither money nor any identity. He went to the courtyard of the mosque where Hafiz Said was teaching people the Quran. Hafiz Said said, "He who trusts in Allah, the paths open for him, and he who trusts in Allah, the paths open for him. He is enough for him." Zaid listened to them and decided in his heart that he would earn a lawful livelihood. He started working in the market. Sometimes he would carry goods for the shopkeeper, sometimes he would water the fields, sometimes he would help with ironwork. People would see his hard work and be pleased. If you're visiting the channel for the first time, please subscribe, and don't forget to like, share, and comment on the video. They said, "This is a new boy, but he has magic in his hands." One day, a wealthy shopkeeper, Ustad Rahim, gave Zaid a job at his shop. Ustad Rahim used to make clay pots, and Zaid would prepare the clay for him and sell the pots in the market. Ustad Rahim said, "Zaid, you have faith in your heart." Zaid would go to the mosque every night, pray and pray. "O Allah, give me lawful sustenance and give peace to my heart." Princess Amina lived in the royal palace of the city. She was a beautiful but stubborn girl. Amina lived in the palace with her father, King Solomon, and her mother, Begum Zainab. King Solomon was a just king who cared about his people. Begum Zainab was a good and quiet woman who always read the Quran and prayed, but Amina's heart was filled with sorrow. She said, "I am a princess. No one is better than me." Her clothes were made of silk, her jewelry was made of gold, and her servants were always in front of her. Begum Zainab explained to her daughter. Amina said, "Mom, these things are for the common people. I am a princess. I do not need to bow down to anyone." King Solomon also sometimes explained to Amina, but she would turn his words into jokes. Hafiz Said, who was the imam of the mosque, would sometimes come to the palace and give advice to Amina. Princess Asli Shan is soft-hearted. Amina listened to his words, but her heart was not affected. She could see the city from the window of the palace. I looked and thought, "This city is because of me, my father's eyes. Where are these people?" One day, a wonderful fair was held in the city market. People came from far and wide to buy and sell their goods. There, Ustad Rahim was selling clay pots for him. Amina came to see the fair with her servants, wearing silk clothes and gold jewelry. She saw a beautiful clay pot in Ustad Rahim's shop, but in pride she said to the shopkeeper, "What a useless pot! There is no beauty in it. Clay pots are 1,000 times better than this." Jade, who was standing nearby, could not bear it. He said politely, "Princess, this pot is the light of the hard work of an old shopkeeper. It is the skill of his hands, the peace of his soul. Everything has its own beauty. You just have to see it with the eyes of your heart." Amina felt Zaid's words hit her heart. She said, "Who are you?" "A poor laborer who is trying to explain to me answers my words." Zaid lowered his eyes and fell silent, but his words touched Amina's heart. I hid. That night, Amina could not sleep. Amina could answer, but there was some truth in what she said. Begum Zainab saw her restlessness and said, "Amina, when faith awakens in the depths of the heart, sorrow melts. The Quran says, 'Those who purify their souls are the successful.'" Amina remained silent, but she woke up with a restlessness in her heart. Life in the city was a new battle for Zaid. He had neither a house nor money, just a bag and the tasbih given by his mother. He spent the first night in the courtyard of the mosque, where he prayed in the light of an oil lamp. "O Allah, give me lawful sustenance and calm my heart." In the morning, when the call to prayer sounded, Zaid prayed and went to Hafiz Said. Hafiz Said saw him and said, "Son, you are new, but there is a light of faith on your face." Zaid started looking for work in the market. On the first day, a street vendor hired him to carry his goods, but at night he only gave him 2 loaves of bread. Zaid thanked him and ate the bread and slept in the mosque. On the second day, an iron worker hired him to dig the soil, but when Zaid was tired and asked for water, he scolded him, work hard, water." Later, Zaid hid because his mother had taught him. He put his heart into his work, and the market people were surprised to see his hard work. One day, Zaid was placed with a blind shopkeeper in the market. Baba Qadir's goods had fallen, and he was worried. Zaid picked up his goods and took him to the street vendor. Baba Qadir prayed, "Son, may Allah increase your sustenance." Zaid smiled and said, "Baba, this is my refuge." That day, Ustad Rahim called Zaid to his shop and said, "You have skill in your hands and faith in your heart. Work with me." Zaid started making earthen pots with Ustad Rahim, and soon his hard work became famous in the market. But not everyone in the city was kind-hearted. One day, a rich shopkeeper, Malik Asif, accused Zaid of theft. He said, "This new boy stole money from my shop." Zaid said politely, "Malik Sahib, I fear Allah. Look at my bag." When people saw Zaid's bag, it contained only clothes and rosaries. The people of the market supported Zaid, and Malik Asif was ashamed. He apologized to Zaid, and Zaid said, "Whoever forgives and makes amends, his cause is with Allah." After this incident, Zaid's name began to be taken with more respect in the market. Zaid's words echoed in Amina's heart. She could not forget the story of the earthen jar. Every night when she lay in her room in the fort, she felt that her sorrow was taking her into the darkness. One night, she had a dream. She was a poor woman who was selling clothes in the market, and people considered her small. She woke up from the dream, and her heart became restless. She told her mother, Begum Zainab, about the dream. Begum Zainab said, "Amina, this is a sign from Allah. Grief closes the heart, but gentleness opens it." Amina decided to go to the market, but this time, without any grief, she wore simple clothes, took off her jewelry, and went to the market with a servant. There, she saw how hard people worked to earn their livelihood. Some were making pottery, some were sewing cloth, and some were selling vegetables. She saw an old woman who was selling old clothes on her street, but she had no buyers. Amina took out some coins from her purse and bought the old woman's clothes. Ya prayed, "Daughter, may Allah give you peace." Amina's heart was filled with joy because for the first time she was free from her sorrow. That night, Amina went to the mosque to listen to Hafiz Said's speech. Hafiz Said said, "Real glory is not what the world sees, but what Allah sees. Allah loves those who act gently." Amina decided in her heart that she would leave her sorrow and do something for the people. She said to Begum Zainab, "Mom, I want to do something for the poor people of the city." Begum Zainab smiled and said, "My daughter, this is a journey of faith. Go and Allah will show you the way." A great calamity came to the city. The river that used to water the fields of the city dried up. The rain stopped and the land became like a reed. The crops in the fields withered, and there was a shortage of food in the market. There was disappointment on the faces of the people, and the atmosphere of happiness in the palace also disappeared. King Solomon was worried because the people of the city looked at him with hope. He called the people to the court and said, "We have to find a solution to this problem. Find a way." Zaid, who was now working with Ustad Rahim in the market, saw the people's distress. He went to Hafiz Said in the mosque and said, "Hafiz Said, this city has become my home. We have to do something." Hafiz Said said, "With difficulty comes ease. Gather the people and trust in Allah." Zaid called the people of the city to the courtyard of the mosque and said, "There is an old well outside the city that has been closed for years. If we all dig it together, maybe water will come out." The people saw Zaid's passion and decided to support him. Ustad Rahim said, "Zaid, I will give you my tools." The people of the market gave him food and water, and the young boys participated in the work. Amina, who was watching all this from the window of the banana plantation, thought, "This poor boy is doing such a great job. Maybe there is some truth in it." She said to her father, "Abo, I want to help in this work." King Solomon said, "My daughter, go and listen to the voice of your heart." Work on the quay began. Zaid worked day and night, digging soil, lifting stones, and the people of the city were with him. Young men and women were operating tools. While cooking and the children were bringing water pots, Amina also came to the house one day wearing simple clothes and saw Zaid working. She said, "Zaid, why are you working so hard? What will you get?" Zaid smiled and said, "Princess, this city is my home. Whoever does good work has a reward from Allah. I have only fulfilled my duty." Amina's heart was touched by Zaid's words. She decided that she would also participate in the work. She ordered tools and food from the forge and started working with the people herself. The people of the city were surprised. The princess, who once walked proudly in the market, was now working in mud clothes. Begum Zainab saw Amina and said, "My daughter, this is the light of Allah that is descending into your heart. Allah loves those who do good work for others." The work was difficult because it was old and its walls were collapsing. One day, a big stone fell and a worker got a piece of it. People started to despair, but Zaid said, "Friends, do not lose heart. With difficulty comes ease." He gathered the people again and the work continued. Amina also encouraged the people and there was a new peace in her voice. The work on the quay continued day and night. The people of the city were working as one heart and soul. Jad dug the soil from morning till evening, picked up stones and encouraged the people. He said, "Friends, this quay is not only for water, it is also a sign of faith." An old blacksmith, Ustad Bashir, brought his old tools and said, "Jaid, these are my father's tools. Use them to work on the quay." Jaid kissed his hands and said, "Master, these tools will work with the mercy of Allah." Amina also came to the quay every day now. She wore simple clothes and picked up soil with the people or distributed food. One day, when a worker's hand was cut, Amina tied his bandage with her dupatta. People were surprised. The princess, who once wore silk shoes, was now working in the soil. Amina had a new peace in her heart. She would sit with Begum Zainab at night and say, "Mother, I was proud before, but now I feel like Begum Zainab said, 'My daughter, Allah loves those who act gently. Difficulties may arise in work.'" One day, a wall of the quay collapsed and the people became disappointed. A worker said, "Zaid, perhaps this quay will never be built." Zaid gathered everyone in the courtyard of the mosque and said, "Friends, do not lose heart, and whoever trusts in Allah, He is sufficient for him." Hafiz Said prayed, "O Allah, show us the way with your mercy." That night people prayed together, and when the morning began, they found an old path inside the quay from where the soil was soft. Seeing this, hope rose in the hearts of the people. After many months, one evening, when the sun was setting, the sound of water came from inside the quay. Zaid and Amina bent down to look, and splashes of water fell on their faces. People jumped with joy, and the voices of Allahu Akbar echoed everywhere. Now the key had become a mercy. The people of the city gathered in the mosque, and Hafiz Said said, "This is the mercy of Allah." The people prostrated in gratitude and the city. An atmosphere of happiness filled me. The city became green with the water of mercy. The crops started to grow in the fields. The noise returned to the market, and smiles returned to the faces of the people. Amina had completely changed now. She spent less time in the fort and more time in the market. One day, she saw an orphan child who was wandering hungry in the market. Amina took bread from her purse and gave it to the child. The child prayed for him. "May Allah grant you paradise." Amina's heart was filled, and she decided that she would do more work for the poor people. She married Begum Zainab. "Shura, what is it, mother?" "I want to build a house for orphans." Begum Zainab said, "My daughter, this is a very good deed." Amina took money from the treasury of the village and cooked for an orphan outside the city. She herself spent time with the children, gave them clothes, and cooked for them. The people of the city now call Amina the Princess of Mercy. Amina started another work, a Quran gathering for women. Every week she would gather women in the courtyard of the mosque and recite Surah ad-Doha. One day, a widow, Bibi Salma, came crying and said, "Princess, my son is sick and I have no money for treatment." Amina held her hand and said, "Bibi, don't worry, ease the hardship of the one who is in trouble." She gave money from the village for treatment, and Bibi Salma's son got well. Amina's deed became famous in the city, and people prayed for her. After mercy, the city was prosperous, but a new test came. On the way out of the city, a group of robbers came, led by Qasim. Qasim was once a farmer, but misfortunes turned him into a robber. He and his group set fire to the fields and looted the travelers. The people of the city were afraid because the destruction of the fields meant famine and hardship. King Solomon ordered the soldiers, but the robbers hid. Zaid gathered the people in the mosque and said, "We cannot be afraid. This city is our home, and we will protect it." Amina said, "Zaid is right. We, the soldiers of the city and the people of the city, will fight together." Hafiz Said prayed, "O Allah, give us courage with your mercy." Zaid and Amina made a plan. Zaid gathered the young men of the city, and they found the robbers' hiding place at night. Amina prepared the soldiers of the city, and King Solomon raised his hand. One night, when the robbers came to the fields, Zaid and the soldiers surrounded them. Qasim raised his sword, but Zaid said, "Qasim, this is the path of injustice." A restlessness arose in Qasim's heart. He told his group to lay down their arms. Qasim and his companions repented before Hafiz Said in the mosque. Qasim said, "Zaid, what are you talking about?" "It moved my heart. I want to leave my sins," Zaid said. "Qasim, Allah is forgiving." King Solomon gave Qasim work in the fields, and he started a new life. One day, 3 travelers came to the city market. Zaid's brothers, Yusuf, Harun, and Alias, along with their wives Fatima, Zainab, and Maryam. The news of Zaid becoming a leader in the city had reached Gaham, and shame rose in the hearts of his brothers. Yusuf saw Zaid and said, "Zaid, we have wronged you. Forgive us." Harun and Alias also bowed their heads and begged for forgiveness. Their wives said, "We misunderstood you. Zaid, your mother was right. She used to say that Allah sees everything." Zaid hugged his brothers and said, "I forgive you." The people of the city welcomed Zaid's brothers. Yusuf donated part of his shop to the city. Harun made new slippers, and Alias started working in the market. Their wives also joined the work of the city. Fatima taught them to sew, Zainab cooked, and Maryam Zaid and Amina together built a madrasa where the children learned the Quran and worldly education. Zaid himself taught the children the Quran, and Amina taught them how to read and write and crafts. Begum Zainab came to the madrasa every week and explained the verses of the Quran to the children, such as paradise for those who do good deeds. King Solomon helped the madrasa from his treasury, and the people of the city gave their share. Some clay bricks, some wood, some of their own. The madrasa became the heart of the city. The children read the Quran in the morning and learned crafts in the evening, some tailoring, some blacksmithing, some new farming methods. Zaid's brothers also came to the madrasa and taught the children how to make slippers. A child, Hassan, said to Zaid, "Teacher, when I grow up, I will make a koan for the city." Zaid smiled and said, "Hassan, it is more important to make a heart than a koan." The city had now become a shining example. The koan was a place where water flowed with mercy. The crops were blooming in the fields and the market was full of noise. Amina decided to have a big celebration where the rich and the poor all rejoiced together. The market was decorated with colorful flags. People brought food from their homes, bread, lentils, and sweetmeats. Amina made new clothes for the orphan children, and Zaid distributed the food. The children sat and sang, and the old people sat on the porch of the mosque and read the Quran. Hafiz Sa'id narrated after the celebration. This city was once in darkness, but the faith and hard work of Zaid and Amina illuminated it. There was a feeling of gratitude in the hearts of the people, and they were proud of their city. Zaid, who was once an orphan boy from the village, now became the leader of the city. Amina, who was once immersed in arrogance, was now the light of gentleness and faith. King Solomon and Begum Zainab were proud of their daughter's achievements. The people of the city lived with love and affection for each other. Zaid and Amina's madrasa was a tower of light for the children of the city and, oh mercy, the heart of the city. Hafiz Sa'id narrated one last time. This story teaches us that with faith, patience, and unity, every difficulty can be made easy. Zaid and Amina, through their work, it proved that true glory lies in the tenderness of the heart and trust in Allah. The people of the city gave thanks every day, and their city became an example for distant cities. This story tells that sadness darkens the heart, but faith and good deeds illuminate it. If you liked this video, like it, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that new stories reach you first.